Acknowledge the rage that surges in your chest when some fool says or does something to provoke you, that heat that flushes your face, the mind that races, the almost uncontrollable impulse to strike back with equal force. In that exact moment, your freedom is forfeit. You become a puppet, and the one who agitated you becomes the puppet master, often with a smirk on their face. Every reaction is a knot tightening. Every outburst of rage is proof that command is no longer in your hands. But there is a methodology to sever these strings, a form of power so absolute it transforms indifference from weakness into impenetrable armor. In this transmission, you will be indoctrinated into the Indifference protocol, a 3-step system designed to restore your command and ensure that no one ever again weaponizes your emotions against you. This doctrine that you are controlled by what enrages you is ancient. Over 2 millennia ago, the great Stoic warlords of the mind had already deciphered this code of human nature. Epictetus, a man born a slave who rose to become a master of the psyche, forged a sentence that echoes through eternity. It is not events that disturb us, but our judgments about them. Execute this thought exercise for a moment. The insult from a subordinate, the criticism from an ally, the reckless driver who cuts you off. None of these hold inherent power. They are neutral events. The power is born from the meaning you assign to them. It is your internal tribunal that declares, "This was disrespect. He is attempting to undermine me. I will not tolerate this." It is in that instant, when you condemn the event as a personal assault, that rage is spawned. And rage, to the Stoics, is a form of tactical insanity. Seneca, the great strategist to the Roman Empire, described it as a passion deaf to reason and counsel incited by empty causes. When you are enraged, you are not in command. You are commanded by a primitive impulse, and the one who lit the fuse becomes your de facto operator. To react with rage is not a show of force. It is a confession of systemic weakness. It is broadcasting to your adversary, "Target acquired. You have found my weak point and can exploit it at will." True power lies not in the detonation, but in the discipline to choose not to detonate. It is the capacity to stare down a provocation and, with cold calculus, decide it is unworthy of your energy, unworthy of your peace. But how is this fortress of the mind constructed in a world that constantly assaults its walls? The answer lies in a method, a protocol. Proceed to the 3 directives for the construction of your inner citadel. Step 1, reconnaissance. The first step to disarming an explosive is to acknowledge its existence. Likewise, the first directive of the protocol is not to ignore the enemy, but to conduct a brutal internal reconnaissance. When you are provoked and feel the blood boil, halt before any reaction. Take 1 breath and interrogate yourself. Why precisely is this affecting my operational readiness? The easy answer is a tactical error, because he was insolent or because her statement was unjust. This is merely the surface. We must dig deeper. What, within your own framework, was truly compromised? Is it your need for validation? Your fear of appearing weak before your subordinates? Is it some insecurity about your competence, your intellect, or your status that was targeted? Become a mirror to your own command structure. Perhaps the criticism from your superior officer enraged you, not because it was wrong, but because it struck at the classified fear that you are not mission capable. Perhaps the comment from that supposed friend about your relationship infuriated you, because it validated a doubt you already harbored, but refused to confront. Let me be blunt. This is the most arduous step, for it demands you confront your own ego and your tactical vulnerabilities. But it is also the most critical, Because by understanding the true origin of your reaction, you realize a liberating truth. The ordinance is not external, it is internal. The other person did not create the wound. They merely illuminated a pre-existing vulnerability. The tactical maneuver here is the reflexive pause. When an emotional trigger is activated, breathe deep and create a 3-second buffer between stimulus and response. In this buffer zone, do not plot your counterattack. Ask, what does this reveal about my own programming? What core directive of mine was violated to cause this reaction? By executing this, you shift the theater of operations. The question ceases to be, what did they do to me? And becomes, what does this reveal about me? And from the moment you know yourself, the enemy's power over you begins to disintegrate. Step 2, the dichotomy of control. Having conducted internal reconnaissance, the second directive is to construct a bastion. Not to isolate yourself from the world, but to divide reality into 2 distinct territories. This is perhaps the most powerful principle of Stoicism, the dichotomy of control. The concept is simple, but its application is transformative. In any given scenario, there are variables you can control, and variables you cannot. End of analysis. What you cannot control: the actions and opinions of others. You do not control if someone will criticize you, insult you, or disregard you. You do not control the battlefield, the economy, or the past. To attempt to control these things is a formula for failure and rage. It is as futile as attempting to command the tides. And what can you control? Your assets, your thoughts, your judgments, your decisions, and your actions. Your response to an insult, your resolve to maintain composure in the midst of chaos, your choice to see an event as a catastrophe or as an opportunity for intelligence gathering. This alone is within your 100% sphere of command. The second directive of the protocol is to apply this division ruthlessly. When faced with a provocation, erect the stoic bastion in your mind. On one side, place the enemy's action, the insult, the critique, the insubordination. Observe it and acknowledge. This is outside my control. This is not my territory. On the other side of the bastion, place your response, your interpretation, your decision, and declare to yourself, this, however, is under my command. This belongs to me, and I choose not to surrender my power. When a subordinate takes credit for your strategy, their action is outside your control, but your reaction detonating, engaging in gossip, or alternatively, documenting the event and briefing your superior in a calm, strategic manner is entirely under your command. This practice of segregating what is yours from what is not creates immense tactical clarity. The energy you wasted attempting to alter the unalterable is now redeployed to the only mission that matters: governing yourself. Step 3, active indifference. We arrive at the final directive where the strategy is fully executed. After recognizing your vulnerabilities and segregating what you control from what you do not, you will deploy active indifference. This is where the undisciplined falter. Stoic indifference is not apathy. It is not being cold or emotionless. That would be subhuman. Stoic indifference is a strategic choice. It is the conscious decision to assign no value, neither good nor bad, to things outside your control. Wealth, reputation, the opinion of others, even health. To the Stoics, these are all indifference. This does not mean you shouldn't prefer to be healthy over being sick. It means your operational peace, your very character, cannot be contingent on these things. Active indifference, therefore, is an offensive measure. It is the deliberate decision to treat another's provocation, not as an attack, but as background noise. The sound of the wind, you register it. but you do not allow it to disrupt your internal command. In practice, this manifests in two primary tactics. The first is strategic silence. Often, the most powerful response to a provocation is not a clever retort. It is silence. A silence born not of fear, but of absolute strength. A silence that communicates, what you are saying is so irrelevant, it does not warrant the expenditure of my breath. This silence disarms the provocateur. They expect drama, a firefight. By providing nothing, you strip them of all power. They have screamed at a wall and heard only the echo of their own insignificance. The second tactic is the minimal, neutral response. If silence is not a viable option, your response must be devoid of emotion. No sarcasm, no rage, merely a statement of fact. If someone accuses you of something unjustly, instead of, "How dare you?" you state with cold calm, "I do not see it that way," or "That has not been my observation." This response does not invite debate. It terminates the engagement. This is the cold armor, not because it is inhuman, but because it is forged in logic, not in the heat of emotion. It is the final demonstration that you are the sole commander of your internal universe. The campaign from puppet to sovereign is waged from the inside out. It begins with the mirror of self-reconnaissance, is fortified by the bastion of the dichotomy of control, and is made manifest in the cold armor of active indifference. By executing this protocol, you do not merely prevent others from controlling you, you conquer something far greater, emotional sovereignty. Your peace ceases to be a fragile asset, dependent on the whims of others, and becomes a fortress of your own construction. Those who once angered you now find a calm they cannot breach. The strings that manipulated you now lie severed on the ground, useless. The question I now put to you is this: which of these three directives will you begin to execute today? The internal mirror, the stoic bastion, or the armor of indifference? Declare your answer in the comments below. Let us begin this silent revolution together. And if this protocol has armed you like this transmission, subscribe to the channel for more tactical doctrines, and more importantly, disseminate it to the one person you know who needs to stop being a puppet. Remember always, power is not found in never being provoked. Power is found in choosing deliberately not to be broken.